Motion, we have a second. Ms. Yolanda, we're gonna give you the next.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve bills totaling $234,429.31.
Okay, we'll come back for a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Here, utility tractor Tiger with 18-foot Bengal to the Public Works Department, not to exceed $137,138.99. Anybody like to make that a motion?
I make a motion.
Have a motion, and got a second? Any questions on this?
And Mayor, I just want
Yes, sir.
to stand for clarity, because I know you and I had this conversation just to, for the public to know, the current machine we have now, I think is pretty old. And bigger, so we don't have less complaints regarding our RAD study. So just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and this is on the state bid all through, I believe it's Tri-Green out of Kentucky. All right, thank you, Kevin. Any other questions?
No, you did a good job about getting this at the license.
I did good. All right, all in favor, show the right hand. Thank you, council.
And Mayor, I want to say this again too for clarity, because I think people get things confused, and I see it on social media, so I want to say this again for clarity. This is using the American Rescue Plan Act dollars, not coming from general funds. People tend to get confused about the fund it comes from. I'm not saying the people in here, just saying social media world, and just people just that may not know.
Yep.
It's coming from that, not from the general funding budget.
All right, and we did vote on it.
Yes, sir.
All right, no other questions. Now we go to ordinance number 2023-01, ordinance City Flood Code, Alabama, amending section 6232 of the Pleasant Grove Code of accordance to clarify the term of office. Was we gonna put this one on hold?
Yes, we're delaying it for 2
We'll read
weeks.
this backwards now. To replace it. We put that on hold to the next council meeting. Table, excuse me.
I make a motion that we table item 8 of
Eight
the
and nine.
agenda, 8 and 9 of the agenda until the April 21st meeting.
Yeah, I'll second that. All right, any other questions on that? All in
Is
favor,
it
raise
for
your hand.
the next meeting? I mean, I have that date correct,
Okay.
sorry. 17th, my apologies. 17th. Did
And
you hear that clarification, Mr. Cobb?
Yeah, you take
I misstated
the
that.
17th.
Yes,
The next council.
next council.
Correct.
just for information, what day do we have for the walk-in park?
12.
April the 12th at
11:30.
11:30. Good, good. All right, next we got officers of the city report. Mr. Ricardo, we start with you.
I don't have it.
All quiet on your end.
Yes, sir.
Danny.
I got a few things for y'all, if y'all don't mind. First off, I'm gonna give you the numbers for March. Your public safety department, police and fire answered 1,011 calls for service last month. Breaking that down to a few different things, we had 3 house fires. Our paramedics answered 96 calls, medical calls, and then just basically 25 citizens assist. For the police department, we had a total of 44 burglar alarms. We had 15 domestic violences charges. We arrested 30 people and 10 wrecks. That's some of the highlights of those. A few things I'm projecting for the coming up. I'm starting next week a program called Ask the Chief. I want to make myself available for all the citizens to come up and make myself, so they would come ask me questions directly on how we do business. If you have any questions or concerns, you can air them directly to me. We'll start each one with a little topic. We're going to start this topic on protecting yourself from scams and identity theft. We have a lot of different documents and literature we're going to hand out. Two of the biggest scam times in identity theft is during when you start getting your taxes back and during Christmas. And And so we want to go ahead and get that out there. We're going to do that next Tuesday at 6 p.m. We'll be at the community center, have some light refreshments. Please come out. Everybody, if you have any topic, it don't have to be on scams, it can be about anything. You can ask why we stop certain cars or whatever. But I want to make myself available to all of y'all.
At what time?
6 p.m. 6 p.m. at the community center. Also, April will be Amnesty Month for all FTA tickets. I've talked over with our magistrate's office. We have a huge backlog of warrants for people who get a ticket and then just don't do anything about it. And then a criminal charge gets put on failure to appear on their criminal charge. We're going to do an Amnesty Month. If you'll just simply come up here and pay your ticket, they will pull that warrant, and so you won't even have any kind of criminal charge. So April is Amnesty Month. I'll be putting this out on our social media as well tomorrow. So, do y'all's questions?
Sounds excellent to me.
Thanks, sir.
And also, Chief, is it possible you could give us something, just like a bullet points, if you will, that we could share on our social medias as well with
Sure.
the Amnesty Month?
Absolutely.
And ask the chief?
Absolutely. I'll send that out to your email. That's how y'all have it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. All right, next week.
Yeah,
Oh, and will you give it to,
can I get it to the chief so I can put it on?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, I apologize, I was gone last week and I didn't get a couple items on the agenda that I needed to get addressed with the council. The first is on 1141 14th Avenue. This was a burned house. We received a lot of complaints from the neighbors, going out there. Kids have been playing in the basement. They almost set up a little clubhouse down there in the basement, the way it's set up. So it is a danger. Walls, just in the 6 months I've been watching that house, one wall has collapsed into their kind of little entertainment area they had. But, so it is dangerous, but I think we've already declared it a public nuisance a couple council meetings ago.
I've sent out the letters.
I've sent out the letters in 45 days and posted it.
The public.
This would be the public hearing, okay. And, I took quotes on it. We got 3 companies that gave us prices. The lowest one was Powell Builders at $4,372. The next lowest was T&K Industries at $14,300. And then the highest one was Pennington Tree Service at $18,500. There's a lot of debris to dispose of on the house. This one, that's why there's a big range. The guy who has the lowest one has a large tract of land that he stores his equipment on behind this house. And so basically he's doing it at his cost. That's why he said he didn't want to have something that close to where his equipment is, that he didn't get the job on it. That's, but we have that issue.
Does anybody here to speak for or against the demolition of 1141 14th Avenue? I know it gone to the owners. So, then the council will need to make a motion to declare public nuisance and authorize ban. These are the ones that he'll have to report after the demolition is done, the final cost to make sure of, authorize ban, accept the lowest bid, bring it back, and this was a strange one that the clerk has to actually file the ordinance to become a lien on the property for the cost of it.
Okay.
So,
All we need to do is make the motion then.
declare public nuisance, authorize ban, enter into lowest bid, and report back to us after demolition is complete for a final assessment of the ordinance. And that would be, a resolution ordinance will do in writing that Ricardo will be able to file a certified copy of the permit.
Okay. All right, does anybody want to make that motion?
But don't we need to do unanimous
Unanimous
consent
consent.
first?
He actually sent out the notice to the owners and how that plays
No,
out.
I'm saying for us to vote on it
I
on
don't
this
think
agenda.
it's one that requires since it goes through the owners, but to be safe, I'm not with that.
All right, make a motion for unanimous consent. All in favor? Raise your hand.
You didn't.
Yeah,
put a
exactly.
second?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Second.
No, you made.
Oh, I made the motion, I need a second. Second. Any other questions? All in favor, raise your hand. All right, so there's unanimous consent.
And then the vote declared a nuisance and all.
You got all that written down, your
I make a motion to declare the property at 1141 14th Avenue, Pleasant Grove, a public nuisance. But I think, me personally, I think we should do them separately.
That's fine.
Okay. Declaring that 1141 14th Avenue, Pleasant Grove, a public nuisance.
That's what you're declaring.
That's a
Okay,
motion.
second.
Second.
I thought I heard a second. Any other questions? All in favor on the public nuisance, raise your hand. All right, now go ahead, Mr. London.
I make a motion that we accept the, lowest, most responsible bidders, bid to perform the demolition on the remains at 1141 14th Avenue, and that Mr. Van report back the total after.
Have that form of motion, and I have a second.
Second.
I have a second, Kevin. Any other questions?
I do have a question, Mr. Smith. Will we need to, I know that the lowest, most responsive bidder was 4372. Do we need to allot for any addition? I know because we're saying that you're gonna report back.
Yeah, my sheet that he signed was pretty thorough on the sites.
Okay.
It had me with each contractor out of the site, because there was a couple walls I didn't want removed that were retaining walls. I didn't want to destroy the property and trying to clean it up.
Right.
So I met with each one of them, they all knew exactly what.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that.
I don't
we
foresee
tighten
anything,
it.
but you never know, you know?
That's the reason the
Sure.
assessment to come back with the final, because on demolitions, every now and then they'll run into something they have no earthly idea about.
Certainly,
So should we put a 10%
They usually
window in?
don't, they would just authorize it after, as long as it's in with that 10 to 25%, actually, I think.
Yeah, unless we ran into something crazy, then at that point I'd put a hold on the work being done probably, and
Okay.
we readdress it, because that's something extreme, something that added double the cost of it, you know, this is something I definitely want to bring the all to address.
Okay. So that was the only question.
So he's gonna have it torn down and then just report to you all afterwards, it's torn down.
Correct. In that final assessment is actually the cost we put on, the probate work on the property. Yes, sir.
All right, so all in favor now, raise your right hand. And this can, thank you, London. All right, and you said you had something else, man?
Yes, sir. All right, the other, issue I ran into is I should have had also the railing out on the front of City Hall. A preliminary kind of looking at painting quotes on it, it was gonna run around the same cost, $5,000 to $8,000 to have them repainted out there. So we got thinking, let's see what new hand railing costs. We did come in with some good numbers on that. So I do have the prices, unfortunately, by the next council meeting will be over 30 days old on our pricing. So I'd like to present these prices to the council to decide if possible.
Well, Mayor, I'd like to move for unanimous consent that we receive the quotes from Mr. Smith on the replacement of the handrails on the front of City Hall.
Okay, we got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second, any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand, unanimous consent. And we'll get the quotes.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
Sure. One Bright Ironworks gave us the lowest price at $6,000, and he will do them black or white, though everybody suggests black. White will show rust a lot. And that can be your all's decision, which color you want out there. The Next lowest was Mike's Welding at $7,800, black or white. And then we had Allen Iron Works, and they gave me two different prices, $8,779.65 for black, and $12,859.65 for powder coated white. They won't even paint white. They ship theirs off and have it powder coated if you want white. It's a thicker coating. They said they've had the most success with not having rust issues showing through. But it's a significant price difference for
What was the
powder.
black one? The black one with?
$8,779.65 for painted black. And then $12,859.65 for a powder coated white.
And just for our information, Mr. Smith, can you repeat what this would include, the railing, the installation?
The railings that we have out there are removed and disposed of, new hand railing put up, all the hand railing. There's 4 pieces going up the steps. Those will be brand new hand railing. And then 2 at the end of the porch out front that go from column to the building. Those 2 would be brand new. The new nice thing about the original ones out there were cast into the brickwork. These will be bolted down. So in the future, 20 years from now, if these need to be recoated, they could be removed one at a time, shipped off and done in a shop somewhere, which would be better for recoating costs.
And they will dispose of them?
They'll dispose of the camera, part of their job. So 6,000 was the lowest one. All of these people wanted advance money to start the job, just to make the council aware of that. The 6,000 one, he wanted $2,000 down. They have to go out and buy a lot of iron, weld it in the shop, and bring it out. Okay.
Well, may I make a motion that we accept the lowest, most responsible bidders?
Okay, quotes. We have a motion, or have a second?
Second.
Yes. We got a second. Any other questions? All in favor, raise the right hand.
Who's the one saying?
And it's Mr. Carroll.
Councilor Calhoun.
You're on the roll, man.
All right. The only other thing I have is just to make the council and everybody aware that the painting of the front of City Hall has began last week. In fact, they went above and beyond. They pressure washed our entire building, including the clock tower, if people noticed.
Wow.
That was not in their contract.
I have not noticed it.
I kind of hate to ask too much about
I didn't say that.
it. But so far, it is off to a good start.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
And again, my condolences on the loss of your father.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. All right, next we'll go to committee reports. Mr. Ray Massey.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. I don't have a whole lot to report tonight. We're just getting back from Washington. I would just like to thank all the Pleasant Grove citizens for the opportunity to go and share and learn the things that they are doing in their city and to be educated on a lot of things that they were doing down there. I got a chance to meet a lot of people down there and very interesting. Things that we'll be able to bring back to our city because, you know, as I see this city here, I see this city very competitive to a lot of other cities. And you'll be surprised in this city, this little small 10,000, 9,000 population or cities that I met other council members or other elected officials that have larger cities than ours and doing way less than what we're doing. So I'm proud to know that we can go down and see that we're doing a whole lot more and better than a lot of the cities. So again, I just want to thank all the Pleasant Grove's citizens for the opportunity to go down and meet up and bring back information. We got a chance to meet the, well, not really meet her, but to see the First Lady speak, and she spoke on education, and she spoke on jobs and so what and so on. I was surprised to know that too, dealing with disposal of drugs. Last year alone, there was about 107,000 people that died from that. Oh, there's other from what the doctor was saying, there's other drugs that's coming down the pipe that's out here, and it's coming fast. And from what I'm hearing, I talked to one of the mayors out of Colorado, and she was telling me how drugs were going through the school system left and right. And I thought that, that's wild. That's why I guess, it's important for us to pay attention to our school, our children, because this thing is affecting the children, it's going down fast. And I was listening to them talk about money that's going to be coming down the pipe, over $200 and some million dollars going to be coming down the pipe. So we can look forward to probably getting some more funds that are coming down the pipe on this. They talked about the mental stage of a lot of people, so it's a lot that's going on out there. So we want to make sure we're aware of what's going on in our school, our communities, and so I was glad to learn that verse, down there. So again, I want to thank the councils that I seen down there. I met a couple of them going down there. We got together a little bit, but I'm glad we was able to make it back. I thank God for us making it back here tonight. So I want to thank you too, Chief Reed, for giving us that information that you've given us, and also Mr. Daniel, I want to thank you too, man. And me personally, I don't know how you do it, or how you did it, but I probably would have said, hey, I won't be here tonight. So, my heart and my prayers, my condolences, my family condolences goes out to you and your family. And God bless you, man, and I will stay with you. Thank y'all again.
Thank you, Kim.
All right, and good evening again, everybody. First, I want to make a note. We received several complaints regarding dumping issues in our community. We're looking further into it. One specifically, I cannot give out the address right now because we're actively researching it and looking further into it. But if this implies to anybody that can hear my voice on social media watching, be advised that we're coming, and we're coming here aggressively. From you dumping in our ravines, dumping, period. We have videos, we have pictures, and we're coming. And I'll leave it at that. We'll be providing follow-ups in the future regarding that process. And not only that, the properties that we were actually discussing earlier at the 1141 14th Avenue, that was a burned structure. We will be looking further into all the other remaining structures that have been left unattended, whatever legal issues are going through, so we can get those properties cleared out in the near future, so that not create other issues within our community. So while I'm on that topic of keeping our community beautiful, I want to remind everybody again, April 10th to the 14th, Monday through Friday, we have the spring cleanup. We have this listed online regarding all the things that can be dumped and can't be dumped, and where the dumpsters are going to be available. So please take advantage of that. So while people are trying to dump stuff in the ravines, you're actually going to have dumpsters here that you can dump that stuff in legally. So please take advantage of that. The next point I have, in complimenting what Councilor Lasser stated, I want to send my sincere condolences to you too, Mr. Van Smith. I don't know how you do it. I said it privately, I said it publicly. I apologize for calling you regarding these issues, not knowing the personal issues that you had going on. Family does come first because your family's issue going on, it's kind of hard to focus, but we thank you for your attendance, and you definitely have our support and our prayers for you and your family. Number 4, anybody had a chance to attend the block party for the girls? It was a really nice turnout. I'm unsure how much money they were able to collect, because technically it was a fundraiser too for the high school girls that championship rings. I don't know about everybody else, but just watching our girls play and watching the NCAA Mars, man, it felt differently, it hit differently. And it's like girls are really getting so much support they should have gotten. And now you see social media ridiculing the girls for being competitive. If the guys didn't know what to be saying anything. So, but I love to see that competitive nature. Let them play, let them do their thing. Shout out to LSU for winning that championship. When I watch LSU, I think about it, you got the real purple and gold. Our colors are purple and gold. So, and I kind of feel some kind of way. So, hey, so we like to kind of share that championship. So, but I'm unsure how much money the high school was able to collect. I need to follow up with Principal Watkins regarding that to see how close they were with that goal. Number 5, to compliment with Council Lasser State as well, the DC trip was very informative for us networking. One of the things they stressed about is spend the COVID money, spend the rescue plan money, spend it. The same thing I've been saying, just send us back receipts and show us how you're really using it to improve your community. To go back to a previous statement in which we were voting for the lawnmower, the rotary mower. This thing costs $137,000, over $137,000 to take care of. If it wasn't for this funding, we'll be scratching our heads like, okay, guys, we gotta see what we're gonna do about this, because it's gonna come out of our general fund. It's not coming out of our general fund. This is another one of these things that we're gonna be able to take care of, because when we get the complaints, like the sidewalks, grass are overgrown, and all these other issues, the thing we're talking about doing with our park, we gotta have the tools readily available to take care of the maintenance within our city. As you can see, we voted on the railing, taking care of the painting over here in the front of the building. I think we also addressed some of the issues over here with the community center. Yeah. So we're really aggressive and very attentive about making sure that our city stays beautiful. So just take note of that. And also, I didn't get a chance to meet the first lady person. I wish I could have. I was like the second row on the stage. I was like right in front of her.
I just say I seen.
Okay, I wish. And when she was speaking, it was unfortunate that we found out about a school shooting in Tennessee at the same time. The kids, our school, the schools around the world are near to my heart. So I hope that elected officials, local and state and federal level, really be more attentive towards this issue. We can protect our banks with security guards and police officers. We can do the same thing for our schools, whether they're public or whether they're private. So to see that issue, and I don't know if anybody actually saw even the body cam footage from 2 different views. Those officers went in there aggressively and intensively and really took out that threat within a matter of minutes. There wasn't no hesitation. They grouped up and really handled business. And that's what we needed to see happen. It's unfortunate that happened the way it did, but we should be grateful for those guys that went in there and saved further casualties and fatalities with that incident. Also, we were talking in our pre-council meeting about grant funding. We're going to be definitely, we've already started being more aggressive and attentive toward applying for more grants, because with inflation, even though we have the American Rescue Plan dollars, you got to think about that inflation has hit us all, even in the city. It's great that we're able to get this more at state bid. I don't imagine what it is there if somebody else with a private company was buying it, but I would say it's probably close to double that, if not.
Probably 60,000.
Yeah. So, inflation. So the things that we're talking about improvements, we're facing the inflation issue as well. The cost of materials, labor, you name it, we're facing it. So we're gonna need some more funding to complement what we're doing. And we're looking into that so we can do those things here within our city. So stay tuned because we keep giving y'all updates every time regarding these improvements. I'm excited about it. Lastly, to go back to the park, we're gonna be meeting, council and mayor on the 12th of this month, over here at the park with, the engineer that drafted up those, proposals as far as the plan with our park. This is the main focal point when you come into our city. When you come into Pleasant Grove, that's the first thing you're gonna see. And we're trying to make sure that we take care of business. So when you come into our city, before you see our city hall, we wanna make sure that our parks and everything else looks good and up to higher standards, because, that's what people are gonna pay attention to. And if this is something that we are helping to create and we will create, but it's going to be far beyond us. It's going to be far beyond our term. This is going to go 20, 30, 50 years more on end for what we're trying to do now. So I'm grateful for the mayor and council for working together collectively while we make these improvements and do what we do as a team. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll see. Yes.
I got it. Okay. Good evening. You all, I want to first of all send my condolences to Mr. Smith and his family. God bless you. Our prayers are with you. I also want to thank the whole council as well as the police chief, Mr. Cobb, our attorney, for working with us to try to do our job to get our public safety committee active to get the news out. The chief gave us some stats, and we need to let you all know what is up, what is down, what we're doing. They're doing a great job, but we're going to make sure that we play the parts to be responsible for all of our duties to all of you all. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And I want to thank all of you on the council, because you all have your parts in it, and we all doing this just to make our city a better city. We were talking today about a $2.5 billion grant for charging stations infrastructure, and we are going to look at ways to get in on that because we're a small city. We will need charging as time goes on, and we've all agreed that we will come together and try to get that done. In regards to the public safety and stuff, I'll let her talk about it, but one of our guests was telling us about somebody that was dumping. We have gone through great lengths to get, and we'll bring more on this, about officers, compliance officers, people that enforce our ordinances, parking on the grass and the other ordinances, dumping and stuff. And we will see what we can do about a hotline number or something. And she'll tell you more about it. She just saw the dumping, that kind of thing. So I just want to say that I appreciate going to Washington. Really, the mayor called me and asked me if I was smart when I got back. And I was smart. Believe it or not, I was tired, but I was smart as well. So just thank you all for everything. Let us know what else we can do, but we're looking for great, great things for our city.
When I asked him, he also hesitated for the answer.
I don't want to lie to you, man.
I was kidding.
I bring you greetings from the library board. I brought up several different items last meeting, and most of these are repetitive, so I'm not going to go over them, but remind you that Thursday, April the 6th, is the free Medicare seminar at 10 a.m. in the library. I can encourage each one of you to, if you have a need for that, be sure to attend that. Several other items here we'll be putting on the website for you to look at. And that's all I got.
Yeah, time on that,
It's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. So.
April 6th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yes, she brought me in the brochure. Is she on?
Good evening, everyone. So, unfortunately, I did not get to address this with the council during pre-council, and my apologies, but this is about the Pleasant Grove Trade Day that we had talked about. And, I need to make some motions, concerning the event itself and the cost and, working with Mr. Smith going forward. But I did not want to delay getting the registration form out beyond today, if I could, if the the council's pleasure. Those are gonna be some extra the council done.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm missing.
Yeah, you can send the extra back. You can give us a copy.
Yeah.
And then, if you'll pass, you probably have another extra, give it to,
We wanna give it to council?
Attorney Terry. My apologies. So, Pleasant Grove Trade Day will be Saturday, May 6th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's to encourage the support of our local artists, crafters, growers, and other small businesses. We have fresh produce in our area, people growing fresh produce. We have someone who sells eggs. We have someone who sells something else. I can't remember. But I'm proposing transient or a peddler type of license for this event, if you will.
We have something in place similar to that, particularly type licenses for events of this nature. I honestly cannot remember what it is off the top of my head.
Well, outside of that, I'm proposing these rates, if at all.
So this is ornament, like we have this, I know in the business stuff or licenses for the clerk to get a temporary business license. And I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head.
I think it was like $70-something. I bought one like a couple of years ago.
Well, this will be no different than we made the adjustment in the cost for what we did for the nonprofits, for the churches, where we exempted them from business licenses or something like that, and we did not make them adhere to the.
Yeah, but that was about the Alabama code allowed us to exempt them. That's one of the things in that.
This was when Doug was here, no?
Yes, and I know against the churches, and it's verbatim, that was one of the people that we could exempt on that list. We can set the rates for license, recognize that, let's look at the statute and make sure we're getting it right.
But we need.
Before we authorize a different change in this.
Okay, well, let's do this.
I'm fine with that. I just cannot remember it off the top of my head. I did see this ordinance still in that, and authorizing the clerk to do a temporary one, I cannot remember what it is.
Authorizing the clerk to do a temporary license?
Yes, for events like this, it considered food trucks, stuff like that. So it was $20. So
Yeah, just a one-time permit for all of them.
and I want to say it was 20. If he's saying 70, I can't.
Hey, don't quote me on it. I just remember it.
I don't think it was 7.
I want to say it's 20.
Like
It's
$20.
it is, not a problem.
Because the yearly is like one something.
Yes, the minimum every year is like 120 or.
Correct.
But it's only just for this particular event. It's no good after that day.
Correct.
And then, she have it again, then they get it again for that particular day.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Carl. So Attorney Terry, you saying that we cannot do that?
Assuming that it's 20, we've already done it, and we can do this, we should probably need to look at it before we just all of a sudden flip it.
My question right now is, do we have a license or a permit that would allow us to do a one-time event?
Correct. No doubt about it.
Can you tell me that before the meeting's over?
I might can find it.
Okay, as I was saying, The cost would be $20 unless it says something different in the code for any vendors and food trucks. There's no charge if it's a licensed Pleasant Grove business, and that means a current City of Pleasant Grove licensed business for the product or service being provided during the event. Not just that they have a business license. There's no charge for local churches and no charge for public school groups. And again, no yard sales or used items will be allowed. We will issue permits for vendors to set up table or booth areas. We will have a limited number of vendor spaces available. Registration will be required, and these fees will provide the vendor with a 12 by 12 section. It will be hosted at the Pleasant Grove High School in the parking lot. You will be bringing your own tents, chairs, and tables as known will be provided by the city. They will receive additional check-in and setup information at the time of registration. And the registration fees must be, registration must be done at Pleasant Grove City Hall in person or by telephone. Now, this is my question though, Mr. Cobb, before we release that.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do we have the ability to accept payments over the phone?
We have, credit card machines here,
Right,
and mainly over the phone is for the court system.
okay.
But we can take credit card payments, but they're gonna probably best they come in
Okay, well, I can amend that.
for this particular event.
Yes, sir, that's fine. I can amend that. Registration form and fees must be received on or before April 26th. And City Hall can accept cash or credit or debit cards. Checks will not be accepted. Late registrations or on-site registrations, will, if space is still available, will cost $25 each, payable in cash only, and will be required before setup. And the on-site registration will not be applicable to the no charge. It will be applicable to the no charge registrations listed above. So for instance, if you have a current City of Pleasant Grove business license, or your church or a school, and you wait to register on site, you will still be responsible for the $25 registration if you choose to do it on site. Because we will not have the ability to check or confirm anything at that point. So as soon as Attorney Terry confirms that, we'll amend the amount before I make a motion. So the other things that I have, I would like to make a motion, if it's the mayor and the council's will, or if you agree with it, I would like to start seeking grants for the Jazz in the Grove event on behalf of the city. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Do we need to do
Unanimous consent, I'm sorry. I make a motion,
unanimous consent?
yes, for unanimous consent to consider, options for the Jazz in the Grove event.
And I'll second that. Any other questions? All in favor of unanimous consent to seek?
Okay, now I make a motion, that I, be authorized to start seeking grants for the Jazz in the Grove event.
And I second.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor, show and raise your right hand. All right.
Can you have a date yet?
Yeah, well, we're going to try to, tentatively, it will be Labor Day weekend, but that's tentatively.
Yeah.
It just depends on how the grant funding will go, because, part of the grants, they will have a year end that I may have already missed their deadlines, I'm not sure. The pep rally, it was a great event, and again, I'm so thankful, to everyone that was able to come out. Me and Councilor Calhoun struggled through the cotton candy machine. I almost lost a finger, we ran out of the little sticks, and we had to wrap cotton candy around bowls. But the kids, they loved it, so that was a great experience. real educational. So, I was able to speak with someone that was working with the pep rally and the fundraising, and currently the total is right at $2,500. They need $6,000. So I would like to publicly make a challenge to my council members and the mayor. I challenge each of us to donate $100 each to the Pleasant Grove High School girls basketball team. And I've already made my commitment, so I challenge each of the counselors to make the same commitment.
I did mine. Yeah, I already did send the check.
Counselors, counselors, the mayor, I challenge.
Except.
We all wanna go.
I'll take the
Okay, so neither,
We all
okay.
wanna go.
Okay,
Gotcha.
all right, yay. I did receive an update from, Mrs. Legault about the volunteer dates, where I talked to the council. I think I mentioned back in January or February, where they had reached out and wanted the council and the mayor to volunteer at the high school one day and relieve the teachers for lunch. She's given me a tentative date of April 28th. That's the last Friday of this month. So, I will update the council if that date changes. And I know that normally
April 28th.
yes.
April 28th. Is
Yes,
that a
sir.
certain time or?
Yes, she said around lunchtime, so their lunchtime, I think that the students start filing around 10:45 or so. Yeah, and it's staggered, so it may be varied times and necessities, because the older kids come at later times and they may need more of us there at that time.
I've always wanted to give them homework.
What you gonna give them, man?
I want something.
And question for Mr. Cobb, Black and White Photography was supposed to email and updated information about the reprints. You have not received it? Okay, well, I will follow up on that. Thank you for that. I want to thank the citizens and the mayor and the council for the opportunity to go to the NLC. It was a great experience. We were able to make a lot of connections, as the other three counselors have stated. But one thing I was really excited to be able to do was to have conversations with some of the city of Birmingham city councilors, and their willingness to share information that we may be able to scale down and use for the city of Pleasant Grove. So I'm very excited about that, and also the resources that they may be able to point us to. And then prior Representative Rod Scott, we had a great conversation with him, and he was very open to sharing some information with us. So I'm excited about following up on those opportunities. I was also excited to meet with one of the vendors there. She presented to us, Councilor Calhoun and myself, we were able to have this conversation with us, but she presented to us an opportunity or a resource for free grant information that we may be able to use as a city, but also there was a gentleman there who is able to come to the city of Pleasant Grove and offer our citizens a form of insurance that they may be able to use for their water systems, not water lines in their house. But if there's a problem with your water lines leading to your house, if it's on your property, then you may be responsible for replacing those. And this individual comes into the city of Pleasant Grove and offers our citizens a reduced rate if the city of Pleasant Grove is willing to partner with him, not partner at a cost, but partner by name only, partner with this company, and then we're able to provide our citizens a reduced rate insurance that they may be able to use with the Birmingham Water Works. So I was excited about that conversation and the information that he was providing. So So I will provide follow-up information on that. And then the last thing is, Mayor, with your permission, can we ask Mr. Cobb if he can provide us with updated pricing on the robocall system that we had talked about maybe a year or so ago? Because I think, especially with this, the spring cleanup dumpsters coming, this would be a prime time to be able to call our citizens to remind them that the cleanup days are April 10th to the 14th. Mr. Cobb?
I don't have a problem with you.
Okay, thank you. I know that you have provided to us before, but those are probably not
Yeah,
valid amounts anymore,
I,
so.
And there may be something, I know the church has it, where we
Oh,
go,
did it? Okay.
and there may be something about the number of times that you.
It
well,
is.
It's not often that you use it, but we do the desk and all.
but it'd be good for, even if the event here, to call people and get them out.
Yes. And also, Mr. Cobb, if you can make sure they include the pricing of calls and texts.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And that's all I have, Mayor, and then we'll follow up with Attorney Terry.
It's $50 per day.
50.
Special events, BK code section must be approved by the police chief actually, and it's $50 a day, and that was in line with what I was thinking. It ended up being the food truck thing that allowed the clerk to waive it and set a special $50 fee, which was in turn based on that BK section, special events category of that is 50.
Okay. Well, Mayor, with your permission, Captain Reed, we would like to seek permission to host this event.
If it's good for the city, it's good for me.
Okay, thank you so much. I would consider that an approval, Mayor. And I will amend the amount to $50 for any vendors and food trucks, which I think is excessively high for this type of events. Especially if you have a small business. And I just don't think that, there has to be an exception for us to, waive the $50 fee or amend the $50 fee for this one-time event to
Can I
I'm burning in what you want me to find, that's the only special event I can find, and that's what we base our work on. I'm fine with coming up with something and changing something, we're talking about having to bring the ordinance in here.
I agree with
We cannot waive on the ordinance, first time reading type stuff.
what we did with the fall festivals. I agree with what Councilman Calhoun said, like, we charge that like the food trucks and whatnot, but that's a large amount to charge somebody, and they have like little bracelets and tricks. We waived actually those fees. We waived.
agree with Council Lawson.
I'm so glad I said.
Council Cap.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I agree with Councilman Lawson what she was stating, because like the small little tabletop, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Food trucks, yeah, they're gonna make a considerable amount, but the ones that's like selling like little trinkle stuff, they make it. What it can do, it can just really just prohibit somebody really wanting to come. They're not be as interested. And we'll be shutting down potential people that can just have some little small little thing that they do that people may love that you cannot get at a store or anything. So I agree with Councilor Lawson.
I understand, I agree too, but it doesn't.
But how, well, we waived it.
I gotta look into that, there is no ability to waive this under.
We waived the extra in the park in the rate board meeting. That's what we did. I don't know how we did, but we waived it.
I mean, I'm just saying, we're talking about what the annual permit license and stuff,
Yeah.
whole cities.
Man, yeah.
We don't choose.
Is it because this is a regular thing that goes on like a couple of weeks of a season? Because this what we did.
The category I'm talking about is titled special one-time events.
Okay.
The cheapest amount in our code that is based on NAICS, the National Association of, I forget. sets the cheapest one under special events. Once a day, it's actually $50 plus 3% of sales.
Okay.
Well, just an idea. If there are small trees that we dictate that they are, then 2 or 3 people can come in.
No.
No.
We're talking about changing the complete code section. That's based on the national code section.
I'm just trying to remember, I think we put it up for a vote or something like that, but we rated it on for the fall festival for those small little tabletop dinners.
I'll research it and see what we can do. But sitting here right now, this is all I can tell y'all, this quick notice of research. From what I flipped through, the shortest number I found was $50. It's under the BK section, which is special events, 1 day, or less, is what it says. And that's the cheapest one. It's actually $50 plus 3%.
So you said that we cannot amend that?
We cannot automatically, that's why we did the food truck thing where we gave under this, the same thing, the next section's the food truck authorizing the clerk to do a special one-time vendor's fee of $50 without the 3% added in. We had to do an ordinance, a food truck ordinance, giving that permission.
Yeah, we understand the food truck, so I mean, we're okay with that.
And that's only 2 a year. They, given person can have a $50 one-time special event. And I mean, a lot of this goes back to all business license, remember. And there's a little catch in there because it says just because they're not in one location doesn't mean we can't require them to pay it. But all of them are location specific, which is these rare things that they don't really account for. I mean, they do account for it. It's called special event category. Let me read it specifically. It's the BK category. And special events, food service is the closest thing I can find on here. I was hoping they would have like a farmer's market type category, and they're not. And under it is $50, but that $50 is truly the cheapest I found other than, the auctioneer coming in, doing the per day thing on like a steakhouse type stuff.
That's just discouraging for a small tabletop vendor.
Could it be exemption?
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to.
Let me see that. What you got.
Yeah,
We do have
code
the
section, it's chapter 26 of our code. Article 2, which is the licenses, section 26-66, subsection D. Exceptions, the city clerk shall, at his or her discretion, be authorized to issue an exemption from the annual business license fee and permit fee requirements set forth in this chapter to any food, to any mobile food unit who is operating in an organized civic event, festival, celebration, nonprofit event, or any other event where it is deemed as being in the public's interest and expectations that mobile food units will be located and operating at said event, provided that no more than 2 exceptions shall be granted to any mobile food unit in any calendar year. In the event that the city clerk grants an exception for a special event pursuant to this section and chapter, the city clerk shall collect a $50 special event for each, I think they meant fee, for each event from each mobile food truck operator. Method in this section and/or chapter shall exempt the responsibility of operators, so on and so forth.
Right.
So that drops them to $50
Yeah.
for that as an exception.
So what options do we have?
I'll research it further, but $50 is all I see.
Well, what we'll do is we'll hear from the public, if you will give me to the end of the meeting to make the motion on the fee. But I would like to make a motion on the event. And I make a motion that we, that the city sponsor is in city name only because no money's required. The Pleasant Grove Trade Day, other than water, I would like to provide water to the volunteers. Pleasant Grove Trade Day, Saturday, May 6, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to be hosted at the Pleasant Grove High School, with all of the parameters, with the exception of the vendor fees. All of the parameters set out earlier. And I put that in form of a motion.
All right, we have a motion, do we have a second? Second. Second. Any questions? And I'm glad you put that in and not to bring your own table, because
Yes. No,
tables
we,
get destroyed if they leave here.
well, plus I didn't want to tax our public works persons
Right.
to have to, you know,
Have enough.
yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor, raise your right hand and that carries. Thank you. Okay, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, that's all I
All
have.
right, we're gonna open it up for public comment, sir.
Before we get to do that, man, can I just say one quick thing? I know everybody got their own church, that they having something for Easter. We know that Easter's coming up. We have an event at our church, and it's gonna be a lot of fun and a lot of games, a lot of food. So anybody, kids or adults that wanna come, it's Faith Chapel, church over in Wyoming. I'd love to see y'all. Sunday night.
Okay, thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
We open it up to the floor. Show of hands, name and address. Nope.
I'll make my motion.
Turn. Ain't no slip
No,
that.
go ahead. You got it, go ahead, you got it.
And the exceptions I'm looking for are never gonna be in our black and white code, everybody. It's usually gonna be somewhere else in that time. Like, I mean, all the exceptions dealing with our ability to waive the cost on the churches, that's actually under the administrative code.
Well, what about if we do this then? How about if I make a motion that the fee be set at $20 for non-food trucks. Non-food trucks. And $50 for food truck vendors. Unless or until such time that it's determined that we cannot do.
Right now, the lowest thing for anything is $50, and that's just special events. Yes, it's talking about the service of food, and I'm certain there's someone else that has. The only thing I actually see cheaper is the auctioning people under here. Or for motor vehicles and sales and stuff. I cannot see, recognize you're asking me on the fly to come up and make sure we have an exception and lower some below.
But Jamie, the code that you're referring to only is applicable to food trucks, right?
Everybody's got to have a business license.
But
It's
the one he's talking
incredible
about.
act not to have them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you were talking about the reason specifically, that was food trucks.
It was.
The one I read was for.
Yeah, she read the food truck part, yes, for festivals, stuff like that, allowing, that's why we did that, allow that. And I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure it out, I just know that somebody can fit this on this.
And the reason why I'm saying it is because even Council Lawson brought this up, like, because typically people that have like a tabletop, they making little bracelets, traditionally they don't have a business. It's not a business, it's just a thing that they do.
That's why I would think there would be something.
So technically it wouldn't, it's not a business. Food truck thing, yeah, that's, you have to go through certifications, the health department, the whole gamut. But again, you're dealing with, it's a trade day, so it's not like somebody out there trying to sell some product that's, they make $1,000 per sale. This is something that's making.
So over here, if we don't have it specifically listed, they have rules for how the clerk decides where they go. And there ain't no doubt the cheapest one's $50, temporary event food service. There ain't, thus far, there's nothing I can locate. Again, let me research this. If they're on this right now, looking at her black letter, this is not where I'm gonna find the exception, more so the administrative code, I'll find the exception.
I think, you know, like the majority of the people will probably be working through their churches again. And 50 is really not bad if we can get the crowd out there for it. Like we needed that, the call out system, to make sure you can get the citizens out to the event. If you have a large crowd there, you're gonna make some money.
But that's not guaranteed though. And this is the first time we've done this.
Yeah, but it's only $30 more, so.
Well, only 30 is a lot for a certain, yeah.
It is, and it's a gamble. I mean, it's not like it's something that's built up. This is something that is in phases. So,
And I'm glad he said that though, because he said it was only 30. So I challenged our city clerk
But
to give to
you
our.
look at some of the food trucks.
I challenged our city clerk to make a contribution.
Food trucks is
to
different.
Girls High School.
I made the contribution. I showed you how. They got $1,000, right? Just like that in one day. Did
Okay.
you tell them? No.
They were out of school.
Oh,
They just
my
came
bad.
back.
Flea market.
So you did that.
But y'all want flea
We don't want
market.
to flea market.
That's $25 plus 30. Yeah, the flea market does not, that's the next one, that's 125 plus 130.
No,
Or 3%, I'm sorry.
no. Okay, so, with any granted, legal requirements, I make a motion that we set the fee at $20 and $50 respectively for vendors and food trucks. I said with the legal exception requirement.
If we can. But I'm just saying it's 50, yeah, hopefully I can find someone who can come back and undo it lower.
Okay. I make a motion that we have the Pleasant Grove, I make a motion that we have the Pleasant Grove Trade Day with a vendor fee that shall not exceed $50.
Perfect.
And the gift going
Yeah, shall not exceed $50. And the proposed vendor fee for non-food trucks will be $20 if it's determined that we can legally do so.
That's not sufficiently definite. Just like.
I said if we find that it's legally.
But anything that says
That's not
if
part of the
it,
motion.
it's never sufficiently definite.
Right.
Yes.
But I said it shall not exceed $50.
Yes. Period.
Okay.
That's in the form of a motion.
I say.
Oh, you made the motion.
Yeah.
All over here talking.
I say.
Second, any questions? You okay with that, JD?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you say?
Not to exceed
All in
50.
favor, raise your right hand. I guess, you know, St. Carrie, that one.
Oh, yeah, that
We
was
did
first.
your survey.
Yeah, that
That
was
one
first.
was good.
Oh, yeah. Now you can make it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I got a question real quick, y'all.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Back to the handrail, black or white?
Black.
Perfect. There's one different.
We got them white, they are blue.
Yes, oh yeah.
Everybody for 3 years.
He said 20.
The white.
Van?
No, no, no. Oh, this ain't.
What's going on?
I got a pass.
Yeah, I'm a challenge. I
That's legal.
We all